All right, welcome in. It's a brand new edition of the RSL Show on the KSL Sports Network. I'm Alex Napoles. Happy to be joined today, as always, by Josh Clark. Josh, how you doing, man?
I am here, Alex. It needs to be Friday already, okay? I'm getting a little antsy. It was a rough day, but then we just spoke. We didn't just speak, but we were just talking about the kits. And
Yes.
just between you and I, we just got a good, solid look at them, and boy, I'm excited. So, yeah, bad day to a good day.
You got your juices flowing, man. I can tell you're pumped.
I'm a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm so glad we're not in the – I mean, clearly there's eventually going to be a kit we're not a big fan of, but the last few, man, I'm pumped. I'm impressed. I'm loving it.
And, of course, joining us as always, Carson Lantz. Carson, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, guys. Unfortunately, I don't really know what the kit looks like, so I'm just kind of sitting here going like, huh?
I know. I'm sorry.
What are we talking about? But no, I'm doing great, guys. It's nice to be back on another podcast episode to talk about Real Salt Lake.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what, though? There is soccer to be talked about. Soccer that we actually were able to watch. Soccer that we were actually able to digest a little bit now that Real Salt Lake is participating in this Coachella Valley Invitational, and they streamed the game. So we got to see our first look at 2025 Real Salt Lake. It ends in a 1-1 draw, but first I want to dive into the starting 11, which I feel, besides maybe a couple players, is the starting 11 that we're going to see Real Salt Lake kind of roll out with for most of the year. So you had Mason in goal, you had Alex Catranis, Brian Vera, Justin Glad, and Bodie Hidalgo in the back line. I think that's going to be your strongest starting back, maybe to begin the season. We'll dive a little bit into why I say maybe here in a minute, but besides maybe Cabral getting the start in net, that's probably what you're going to see the back look like for Real Salt Lake.
No, it's going to be Olave, Borchers, Wingert, and Beltran. Yeah, no, you're right. This feels as stable, wow, that's really jumping, the gun, Josh. But it feels like we kind of have a stable back line like we used to, right? You can pretty much guess who's going to be starting. Maybe the exception at the right back, when Javane's fully fit. A lot of rotation, but yeah, I think this is your core four in the back, your solid starters.
Yeah, I think Bodie Hidalgo should start. As long as he's healthy, I think he'll be in the starting lineup. But other than that, the Glad, Vera, and Catranis, that's our three guys right there. It's going to be hard to kick them out of their starting spot unless they get hurt or something.
You know what, though? Oh. Sorry, I'm also jumping ahead. Kobe Henry might shake it up this year, man.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's
we'll get there, but yeah.
That's why I said maybe, because of all the guys. There's a couple of guys already who I've looked at and have been impressed by. Kobe Henry is one of them, and we'll get into Kobe Henry here in just a moment. But first, I want to go through the remaining of the starting 11, which is Emeka Anelli and Brian Ojeda in that midfield. No surprise there. Those are your guys.
Expect nothing less.
Diogo, Brooke, and Mark Suk were the three. That's probably what we're going to see, with the exception of Diego Luna. Diego Luna, of course, still sitting out because of the broken nose injury. Question is, though, of those two, who do you or I guess of those three, who do you drop?
Probably Lachlan for now, right? I don't think that's a crazy argument. Mark Zook has looked really good in the last couple of trainings we've watched and in preseason already. Diogo, you kind of have to play him and hope he pans out, and he's not playing over Luna. So, he's the first winger off the bench, and that's not a bad place to be.
Yeah, I think Lachlan goes to the bench for sure. And he looked good in the preseason game as well. I think it's good to have all these guys performing, though, and have all of them push each other. And so that's never a bad thing. But no, Luna starts.
And then at the 9, you have Jesus Barea, one of the draft picks. And that's mostly because Forster Ajaga, I found out that's how you say his name. It's actually Forster Ajaga, His paperwork not ready yet at the time of this match. And of course, Ari Piol also not available for this one. So you get his look at Jesus Barea up top. In that first half, I think the biggest takeaway for me, man, was it's got to be the press.
Yeah, we were pressing slightly, I think, in the first half, because the second half the press really turned on. So like, there's a huge difference. And the opportunities came with the second half press, but with how they're lining up, I think the press is going to be the way we're going, and they're going to have to be on it, because when we weren't pressing, it was kind of a dull affair, and we were not dangerous whatsoever going forward. So the press is going to be our friend, and we're going to need to be deep. So let's really hope there's not a lot of injuries this year.
Yes. Yeah. Something I noticed is we just sat back. Like, we would press hard, and then when they would always just beat us, and then it was just like St. Louis wasn't playing entertaining at all, but we made them look better than they were.
Yeah, they were playing very direct, and potentially that could have been a model or a system that RSL was kind of practicing to counter some things, right? Because clearly in the second half the game mode changed. So we don't know what kind of tactics they were employing or practicing in this game really at this point, but yeah, first half kind of dull.
And I think from the conversations surrounding the game model and how this team wants to play, it seems like that second half and how and that pressing in that second half is kind of what Real Salt Lake is, the way that Real Salt Lake wants to play this season. And I'm all for it. That high line, high pressure, right in the defense's face. You're not allowing the team any possession, really. I think that's a fun game model, in my opinion. That's a lot better than take it to the wings, cross it in, and hope for the best, which we've seen Real Salt Lake do in the past. Right. This is much more methodical. This is much more. At times it can be slow, but it's very possession based. And I'm a big possession guy. I love having that ball, controlling that ball, and so I did like that press in that for a majority of that game.
Yeah, and if really when we were the most successful we were last year, that's how we were playing.
100%.
So it's a long season. It's really hard to continue a press like that for the 9 months this thing goes. But again, if we can keep everyone healthy and have that depth, I think that was kind of our shortcoming last year, right? Guys were starting to get tired and run out of gas. So the press wasn't quite there. And then we didn't have a guy really putting up numbers up top. So, it takes a little bit of luck, but when we pull this thing off, it's rad to watch.
It feels like they're testing a lot of other play styles out, just in case of we go back to the team like Minnesota. They're just kind of testing all these formations out and just seeing what works best. I don't expect them to press all season, because people are going to get tired, but it's never a bad thing to be a pressing team.
Yeah, and if you can also, if you can master pressing and then also be great at sitting back in a low block and countering, it's always good to not be one dimensional. So no problems there.
It's kind of nice to see that we're kind of just starting to develop a identity, though.
100%. We're starting to get to where we really know what to expect, gameplay wise. Kind of like the Diamond and the Christ days. We knew what we were going to see, so yeah. And it's not the Petke Juarez era of pump it, just long ball, pump and dump. So it's exciting. I'm excited. I know a few weeks ago I said I wasn't, but mood has shifted.
And I love that you bring up the Christ Diamond, because let's go back to a year ago when Jason Christ first was reintroduced as a member of Real Salt Lake, came on and took on the special operations director of special projects, whatever his title is. But I vividly remember in that intro press conference, one of the things that he mentioned was identity. When he was with the club had an identity, and it was that diamond in the midfield, and he wanted to get back to that. And I think we're beginning to see Real Salt Lake establish an identity again on the ball and off the ball, really. And I love to see it, man. It makes me, like Josh said, it makes me excited for what's to come.
What did you guys think of Brea's performance? He's playing out of position. I was actually pretty impressed with the kid.
I think it definitely, that first half where it was really slow, it could have like made a lot of people like bored, and they weren't impressed. I saw a lot of people complaining about like, oh, we need a night now. We need to like. I think I'm willing to give the kid some time to develop, but he looks promising. He has a good work rate. He is good on and off the ball. You can tell he's a natural like 10 winger though. He didn't seem like he was too comfortable up top, but I'm willing to give him some time.
If you go back to our socials, whether that's Twitter, whether that's Instagram, and you watch a clip of just a little conversation we had with head coach Pablo Mastroeni, we asked him about the new signings, the draft picks, and the guys being integrated into the team this season. And we asked him who's standing out, right? And he spent a little extra time on Jesus Barea and emphasized his finishing, emphasized how good he is inside and around the box. And we saw that a little bit in that St. Louis game. And let me tell you guys, I'm incredibly impressed with Barea, just from the small sample size that we've seen from him.
Do you think he could find himself being the backup to Goncalves? To Diogo?
He'll be in the rotation for sure. I don't see. I don't know if we had to kind of map out the depth chart right now at this moment. I would see maybe Luna tucking in, flex into that position first, and then Barea coming in behind him.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on how the other wingers are playing. That's fine. But yes, I would agree Luna would be the first choice. But, if Lachlan's not playing well or, Luna has to stay on the left, then, well, I guess we'll see. But I do expect him to get some minutes this year at some point.
Absolutely. And it seems like he already has the confidence a little bit from that coaching staff.
Yeah, they love him. So that's dope. Props to him.
Moving on to the 37th minute of this preseason friendly against St. Louis in Coachella. St. Louis gets a free kick. They play it out wide. They cross it in. Catranis tries to get his head on it to redirect it away from the post. Instead, it comes off the post. The initial attempt comes off the post. Catranis tries to get a head on it to redirect it away from frame, but unfortunately ends up putting it inside his own net. And so it looks like we have an own goal for Catranis to put Real Salt Lake down 1-0.
It's one of those unfortunate goals that, as a defender, you're put in a really awkward situation where you're facing your own goal. The ball's coming at you from your goal's direction. You're only a few feet from the post. Like you really don't have many options, right? Except to just try what you can to get it away. Unfortunately, it didn't go Catranis' way. Overall, this isn't a goal I see and, get PTSD from the end of the year or some of those easy goals we gave up. This one just felt really fluky instead of, the team, blowing coverages or, ball watching essentially. So not panicked or worried about that goal at all.
I think from when I watched the goal that we conceded, it just felt chaotic. The goalkeeper was really out of place, and that shot that went off the crossbar and then bounced right off of Catranis' head, it just looked chaotic for a second. And as you said, PTSD from last year, that felt just like it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be a little more worried about, the season had that been Cabral in net. That would be concerning, right? But you have a draft pick in there. No, you have a Orlando City backup in there. Sorry, I was trying to remember who started. Kind of showing why he's a backup apparently. So it's worrisome that that's from a backup because that was pretty bad. So Cabral save us. I'm really excited to see him play.
A backup that
has been around.
But it's competing for the starting spot here. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Remember how I just said I wasn't worried?
Now you're worried.
Yeah.
Okay, Max is gonna start. It's whatever.
I will say, for me on this one, I think just defensively all around could have been better. This is probably a little bit of the sloppiness that you expect from preseason. Honestly, I think the defending from Poti Hidalgo could have been better. However, this is a guy who also missed a vast majority of the last couple months of the season due to an injury. I think Justin Glad probably could have done better posting up the guy before getting into the small box before they got the initial shot off. But again, that's just nitpicking. I think this is something that will be cleaned up come
it's
season. This is a goal that I attribute to it's preseason. You're going to have sloppy defensive mistakes like this.
At least it wasn't like an epic breakdown from, our attacking third all the way to our defensive third.
Hey guys, where's Andrew Brody?
I could swear, and I'm probably wrong, but I swear he was out of contract and we didn't pick him up.
No, he's still under contract. They renewed him, remember?
I swear I saw something where he got released, dude.
No, you're joking.
We haven't seen anything. No, we haven't seen that. Maybe soon, but
maybe it's my wishful thinking. Like
I totally just spaced that though. Like we went to training and we did not see Andrew Brody.
He's still under contract. He still is under contract. Real Salt Lake gave him an extension that 2022 season, and he's still technically under contract. So he is a part of Real Salt Lake. For some reason, he just wasn't at hasn't been with the team yet.
Well.
Oh, well.
Why are we such haters, man?
All right, back to the preseason game. We talked about it a little bit already. The second half, much better, much improved, much better look from Real Salt Lake. Had a bunch of corners. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but there was a bunch of corners, and I think that's just credit to Real Salt Lake putting the pressure on that back line for St. Louis. You would just want some of those corners to turn into better goal-scoring opportunities. I think that would be the biggest thing for me.
Right, but then you also have to remember we didn't have a true striker in this entire match, right? That's usually your target man in these situations. So I think that does kind of play a role into the opportunities we did create off the set pieces. But hey, Kobe Henry had a good look off a corner, so
yeah,
not all is lost.
Future striker
Kobe Henry.
In the Petke era, that could be taken as a very serious option.
Brian Vera up top?
At the halftime break, there was a substitution, though. Mason comes off, Max goes on, and I have to give some credit to our draft pick, Max, who, I'm sorry, I still don't 100% know how to say your last name, but Max, he made some good saves, man. There was a couple of chances there for St. Louis to extend the lead, but Max came up big for Real Salt Lake.
He looked better than...
He did look better than Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good for him.
Here comes Max.
Made some good saves, kept Real Salt Lake in it, and then in the 71st minute, Lachlan Brook. So you have Dominic Marksick, who has the ball out wide, plays it to Lachlan Brook, who's kind of hanging around the top of the 18. He gets it onto his left and just curls one into that top corner. A beautiful shot from Lachlan Brook, and it makes it 1-1. Lachlan's on the board in the preseason, and I'm feeling a little bit better about Lachlan Brook.
Yeah, the Lachlan Brook that played in this preseason game looked nothing like the Lachlan Brook we saw last year.
No, not at all.
And is that a case of he's had a preseason now? Like, I mean, I know it's still preseason, but he's had some experience and then a preseason, and he's finally meshing. Obviously, we won't know until a few games into the season, but right now he's quite impressive.
He's probably one of the standouts for me in this one for sure. Not only because obviously he got the goal, but he just did look a lot better than he did when in the limited time that we saw him in MLS. And I mean, you go back to the end of that Minnesota game or in that Minnesota series, and Josh, we had this conversation. It was concerning that Michael Chang made it onto the field before Lachlan Brook.
Right.
Maybe that was because he was still acclimating, but now I think this is a different Lachlan Brook, and we're starting to see the glimpses of what Lachlan Brook can be for Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, I mean, I love that we're having serious discussions about depth pieces. We're talking more right now about guys off the bench than we are starters.
Never a bad thing. Never a bad
That's
thing.
a great indication.
And I think that's also a tribute to we know what we're getting from our starters. We know what we're getting from Mark Zook. We know what we're getting from Diego Luna. We know what we're getting. I guess Diogo Gonçalves is still someone I'm still looking at him.
He needs to prove himself to us first.
It's only going to take him, a handful of goals, a handful of assists.
Yes.
Yep.
And we'll be bought in, right? It doesn't take much.
We know what he's capable of. He just needs to do it.
There you go. And I mean, he had a couple of good. He had a couple of good passes in this one. He seemed a little bit more comfortable in that midfield, which obviously is a great sign. And so now we just want to see that converted into more goals, more assists, and just more goal scoring opportunities in general.
Yeah, he's very comfortable on the ball, just like how Diego Luna is, and it's going to be really hard for defenders in the MLS season to get the ball off of him. I'm really excited to see how he pans out this season, though, because we have a trend going on right now where we bring in guys in the middle of the season, and they kind of don't. They take a second to settle in, and then by the next season they're all settled and they just go and ball out.
76th minute. Everybody subbed out. The entire bench is subbed in. We get our first looks at Sam Junkwa, Kobe Henry. Tommy Silva makes it onto the pitch. Nelson Palacio, Pablo Ruiz, Javane Brown, Tyler Wolf, who we get our first look at as well. Noel Caliscan onto the pitch. Xavier Gozo and Linker Dos Santos all in for Real Salt Lake. 10 guys out, 10 guys in. Couple of standouts already for me in this little time. We were talking about Kobe Henry. And I think for me as well, we got to talk about Xavier Gozo.
Before we get to Gozo, though.
Let's deep dive into Henry.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about Henry right now. He looked poised off the ball, threatening in the attack, stout defensively, dangerous in the air. He looked good. Your favorite guy, Junkwa, actually looked pretty good too. I'm sorry, I have to say it. And then
he did. He made a couple of good plays defensively. We'll give him
right. And I'm excited he can, give Catranis some solid cover at the left back position. But how nice was it to see Pablo Ruiz out there just slinging 40, 50, 60-yard balls diagonally, right? That's going to unlock a whole lot of options for RSL, right? I know we talked about the midfield being a little congested, but really when you look at it, that midfield can be set up in so many different ways now and really change the dimension of the game of how you're trying to play. This could be really cool. And it was just great to see him back on the field.
Yeah, it was really nice to see Pablo back on the field. First thing I noticed is he still has that knack of finding that killer ball into the box. When I turned the game on and just skipped a little forward into the second half, first thing I see is Pablo Ruiz on the ball trying to play in Linkler Dos Santos into the box. And I feel like we've missed that a little bit from our midfielders, just playing that simple, not like our 10, but like Emeka and Ojeda. They both can do that, but not it's just super clean whenever Pablo Ruiz does it. He just has that killer instinct of finding that perfect ball in on goal.
He's a 10 who plays a 6. That's probably the best way to describe Pablo Ruiz. Yeah. He's a guy. He's a creator who's also really good at sitting deep for you.
100%, and he'll be valuable in trying to break down teams that are parking the bus. Right, kind of draw him out. You can hit him in behind with Pablo's foot. It's just a nice new dimension we have with this incredible midfield group we have. This is the best midfield group we've ever had, bar none.
I would go as far as to say it is probably second or third best in Major League Soccer.
Currently, yeah. I think the current midfield No, that's taking it too far. Not going there.
No, what were we gonna say? What were we gonna say?
And it's different. It's just different because of how the setup was, right? But no, I'm not going to say it. Nope.
I know what you want to say. That's why I want you to say it.
Best midfield of ours. I'm just kidding.
No, nope, can't do it. Now I'm second guessing myself.
Well, can you at least tell us what you were thinking?
Just compare Anelli and Ojeda, or Ojeda and Palacio, Ojeda and Ruiz to any other midfield group we've had, including the Beckerman era, and tell me which one you would prefer. Not you have to involve everyone with Beckerman, right? We're not just talking about Beckerman, but as a group.
Well, which one comes close? Can you give us a midfield that comes close?
It's hard because we really only played with Kyle in the middle, and then had Javier playing really high. So it's not like we just had a midfield two in a kind of a defensive-esque shape.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, but I mean, for the longest time, you had Sonny backing up Kyle, you had Pekka, you had, you know what I mean? It doesn't come close. Gene Alexander, it's just the
vibes were on another level.
Special, yeah.
Nostalgia.
And if you want to compare it to a like-for-like midfield, right? Rouse has played with double pivots before, with Beckerman and Sonny actually playing alongside each other. You had Beckerman and Everton playing alongside each other.
Everton.
But even then,
they wouldn't touch these two.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that.
They're technically better on the ball. Period. Right? Beckerman had the motor, he had the mouth, he had the hard fouls. And don't get me wrong, Beckerman's an incredible player, an all-time great. But technically, these guys are better.
But you put prime Beckerman in this midfield, bro?
Yeah, I'm not saying they're better than Beckerman.
I'm saying, what if you would have throw prime Beckerman into this midfield?
Brother, Beckerman's sitting next to Ojeda.
Oof.
Oh my Lord.
Oof. I'd kill to see that. I would kill to see that.
Yeah, just an odd combo, an odd thought to have.
I think it's a combo that's going to be brought up in the future sooner or later. That people will start being like, is this our best midfield of all time?
But also, you got to remember, Beckerman's been out of the league for a while, right?
Yeah.
So, memory of him playing, right, outside of us older people is gone, and the younger generations are coming in and they're seeing Ojeda and Ellie. And that's the new Beckerman to these generations, right? So that's a weird thought. Dang.
But also awesome to think about.
Yeah, it's very cool that RSL is really getting to a point where there's generations of fans that are coming around, right?
This is year 25, year 26.
Yeah, so people that could have been 5, 10, they have kids now, right?
It's crazy to think about, though. I see what you're saying.
There's families that have evolved while RSL's been around, and there's, kids coming up that are now watching their new favorite players instead of the players we watched when we were kids. And it's crazy to think that we're that far along, even though we're not. We're still babies, but.
All right, Carson, for this preseason game, what is your biggest takeaway from this 1-1 draw against St. Louis?
My biggest takeaway, I was going to say this, was Lachlan Brook. I just really liked the way he was playing and the energy he brought. I don't feel like we saw that at all last season with him. And I feel like he's just going to be one of the players to watch out for, and he's going to push a lot of guys, and maybe he'll take someone's spot in the starting 11. Especially that finish, though. That was a pure, just killer curled the ball upper 90 finish from Lachlan. And I hope we can see that a lot more from him in the season. He seems like he has an eye for goal. I think of some clips and tape I've watched of him. He has had plenty of golazos. And so, yeah, that's my biggest takeaway is him. Obviously, there's Kobe Henry, Xavier Gozo, Max, all of these guys. I'm really high on Max. I think I've said this multiple times in past podcasts. I think he's going to be the starting goalkeeper, even if Cabral is brought on. That's just my opinion. We'll see if it works out or not.
You think he starts this year?
Yeah.
Like to start the season or to by the end of the year he ends up starting?
I think by the end of the year he's the starter.
I wouldn't go that far yet, but I will say he'll get some starts with the first team for sure this season.
I mean, if Mason plays like he played in the first half, which who knows? I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to, but could make his path a little easier to that number one spot.
Mason just looked
uncomfortable,
nervous, uncomfortable.
And let's not forget that Mason's also a guy who was also coming off a season-ending injury last year. Hasn't played a game since I believe it was June.
Yeah, but you get to a certain age, I feel like, and you should be expected to be coming into a preseason like mentally prepared and just knowing what you should bring for yourself. I think he's like 25, 26. I think that's kind of to the age where you have to be ready. Like there's like, oh, he's not young anymore. Like you need to be ready, even if you're on a new team, to step up.
Goalkeeper's a different animal, though. Yeah, I can see the nerves getting to him a little bit, right? This is his chance to maybe cement himself a number one role, little improving, new situation.
I see where you're coming from. I mean, yeah, I guess you could give examples of like some of the best goalkeepers of all time, kind of like being like that.
Any goalkeeper in history, you're going to find some nervy moments. It's just one of those positions it's so mentally draining. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it puts bags in your eyes. We've seen that with some of our goalkeepers in the past. It looks like they haven't slept in days.
Josh, for you, man, what is your biggest takeaway from this 1-1 draw against St. Louis?
Honestly, I was really impressed with Gozo. Again, another winger that we have that's impressive. Seems like we're a winger factory. My Lord. But
winger factory, goalkeeper factory, midfield factory now, apparently. We're
fine with me.
Rouse Lake's doing some interesting things, man.
I also feel like we're finally getting to a point where our academy is aging enough to really start, shining. And I think that's a big reason we're starting to see more academy kids, and Monarchs do some bigger things. Because our academy is no longer in its infancy per se. It's in the nurture. It's leaving the nurturing phase and getting them out in the world phase, right?
Yeah.
From the first crops that came in.
The Kurt Schmidt, Tony Beltran academy products are finally getting to that age where we can start seeing what kids have been developed. Why did they stand out in the first place? And why are they on homegrown contracts?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Gozo is in that rotation as far as the wingers go.
In my opinion, he should be. He's got to earn it, but he should be.
I think Gozo's a guy we'll see get a good amount of MLS minutes this season.
I mean, if Fidel Barajas got minutes last season, I think Gozos should get some minutes. So,
all right, let's head over to Instagram and hear from you guys and hear some of your guys' takes following this 1-1 draw against St. Louis. We'll start with Will Elgren, who says, do we think Lachlan Brook could be better than Gomez or could be the next Gomez?
I think Luna is ahead of Gomez, what would be sold next. I think Mark Zook is closer to the next Gomez, but Lachlan's right behind him. I think they're all on that trajectory to bigger and better things. And Lachlan playing well gives me less nightmares, right? If Luna does get sold this summer, if he's in form and playing well, at least we have a immediate, body to fill that starting position, and then we can worry about the next one. I don't think he'll ever sell for as much as Gomez did, though. He would have to really put up some numbers to go for in the teens of millions.
I just hope he can find that best version of himself. I'm not going to try to compare him to Andres Gomez, but I also do think it's a little too soon to tell if he can get to that level or not.
But I think he has the potential.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Tucker Christensen says, will RSL sign a quote-unquote big player? Yes.
Well, I mean, what's your definition of big player there? Are you saying like a Zlatan? Or are you saying...
Okay, no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, please.
I'm assuming for the sake of the conversation, he's talking about a DP.
Yeah.
Which in this case, yes, it's going to happen.
It may not be till summer, but, from everything that we have heard, there's definitely irons and fires and talks going on. It feels like a matter of when, not if.
Yes, 100%.
I just hope, I trust our scouting department we have going on right now. And if whoever they bring in, I'll be behind that player until they give me a reason not to be. So, but just sit tight and be patient, and maybe we'll bring someone in. I'm just kidding. Alex already said yes, so we are bringing someone in.
I mean, yeah, we think we are.
Yes, we think we are.
Yes.
However, don't be shocked if it doesn't come until the summer window. But it could happen before April 9th.
Yeah, who knows?
Walter, I love this. I love this from Walter. He wants predictions for the year from all three of us.
It's too early, bro.
It is too early, but I love this.
What was this guy's name?
Walter.
Man, Walter just wants the hard questions out right away.
Our way too early Walter predictions.
Gosh dang it,
yes,
Walter.
There we go. Look, man, I'm gonna go without giving it too much thought. I'm gonna go 5th in the West.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna go 5th in the West. I think this team has a lot of potential. And if Real Salt Lake and the young guys can reach that potential, I definitely think they can finish higher than 5th. But with what we've seen right now with the preseason and with truly some young, inexperienced guys coming up, you're probably looking at a 5th place finish.
Like I said, you took it from me, so yeah. 5th.
I'm saying 3rd.
Wow.
I'm saying 3rd.
Carson's shooting for the stars, man.
I'm ambitious. I trust what we have going on. I don't really see. LA is probably going to be good again. Didn't they just pick up Christian Ramirez?
They did,
but
they lost.
They have a proven striker.
Okay,
Ricky Puig. No. Let me finish. No. Don't diss on Christian Ramirez. Sit back.
I will.
No, sit back. Ricky Puig is going to be out for what, half the season?
I think so, yeah.
So honestly, LA is probably going to be a little, but they've made some good signings though. But they've gotten rid of some good young players, and so LA is kind of like, LAFC. I don't think is going to be good this season. They just, I don't know what's going on with them. They just can't seem to keep a player around more than a year. Besides Boanga, and
even then, last year was a down year for Boanga.
Yeah, I don't see anything going on with them. And so honestly, can you guys name someone that in the West that's made good moves? Like maybe Austin?
San Jose?
Yeah, San Jose is probably, yeah.
They've made good moves, but they're not.
San Jose and Seattle.
San Jose is very unproven.
They're very unproven in those two nines they have now. who should not be
Eagles.
named are not going to get along with Bruce.
I don't think so. I think the second one of the egos comes out, things are going to go south, and that's just that's just what I
Worst case scenario is they get rid of one of them, and then one of them just starts scoring lots of goals, and so I mean,
can we circle back real quick?
Yeah, sorry.
To Ramirez.
Oh my gosh.
RSL is looking for a striker.
Yeah.
You need one to come in to be your main guy. And they bring in Christian Ramirez at 33 years old. Be honest. Does that move the needle, or does that feel just like you're bringing in Rubio Rubin?
No, that's a bridge.
I think he's always been overrated. There's a reason he's a journeyman.
Look, that year they went on that championship run. He did have a good season.
With Columbus?
Yeah.
But he still wasn't the main guy.
No, he was not the main guy.
But now you're asking him to be the main guy in LA. Right?
I don't know. I don't,
bro. He's got it.
I'm just saying. I think he's old and washed, bro. And I don't think he was ever.
You said he's a journeyman.
He was supposed to play for Real Salt Lake at one point. So
he is a journeyman, and he decided to test himself in Europe, unlike other American strikers, Brandon Vasquez. And I respect that a lot more. And he actually did pretty okay in Aberdeen in Scotland.
Oh man, Scottish league, huh?
They still play in like Europe League, like they play in Conference League, Europa League, maybe Champions League here and there, but that's awesome. And then he came back to Columbus, and he was that main guy off the bench as striker and sometimes starting, and was clutch. Nothing's wrong with a striker that comes off the bench and can score some goals. Is he overrated?
No, and I think that's what made him so successful in Columbus, honestly.
Yeah. And that's how you got
his career back on track. If I was a Galaxy fan, he's what they brought in to replace Joveljic, I would be upset. I'm just saying.
Okay, Josh, now I'm starting to think about how he was at Dynamo, Minnesota, LAFC.
Yeah, dude, he was all over the place.
Oh, yeah, he was. I hated him
everywhere.
At Minnesota. I hated him at Minnesota.
He didn't do anything at Minnesota.
I know, but I don't know why. I just did not like him.
We were, if I remember correctly, he was supposed to sign RSL was going for him right before he signed for Minnesota.
Hey, is he better than Corey Baird, though?
Absolutely.
To circle back to Walter, the West right now is wide open. I will say that. But he also asked for more predictions, like who's going to have the highest goal contributions, goals, and assists for the year.
That all depends on who's here at the end of the year.
That is true.
Right? Like
that is true.
Or who the new piece is that gets added. So I'm going to say if Luna is here at the end of the year, it'll be Diego. If Diego is gone and Mark Zook is still here at the end of the year, it'll be Mark Zook. If it's neither of them, it'll be Diogo.
I'm going to say it's Diogo.
You hoping he pops off this year?
Yeah.
I am, personally, yeah.
I think if he finds that form, he'll have I almost said 20-plus goal contributions, but I'll say 15
10
plus.
goals, 10 assists. 10 goals, 10 assists is not outlandish, really.
Dude, I would take 15 from Diogo, honestly.
I'm gonna say that's my prediction, though. Diogo.
I'm going to go... Damn, you guys took the good ones. I'm going to go... You know what? I'm just going to piggyback off of you guys. I'm going to go Diogo. Because that seems like that's the natural option.
Who, Diego or Diogo?
Diogo.
Okay.
Do we shop a Nelly this summer because of the value?
Honestly, I don't know. I think the value is rising, but I don't think it's quite to the point where it would be worth it. He's not at his highest value that RSL is going to have met yet.
I think it's not whether we're shopping him. I think if teams come calling,
Exactly.
maybe. Otherwise, I don't. RSL's not shopping him.
Yeah, we're not actively seeking a purchaser, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Same with you guys said. I don't think Rouseleg is going to clubs and saying, hey, we want you to take Emeka. I think it's going to be him continuing to have the season he had last season, as well as continuing to get call-ups for the national team. That's going to increase the value, and then maybe a European team will take that chance. But I also can see it not happening, unfortunately, because of the age, right? He's not as young as, an academy kid coming up, right? He did spend some time in college. He came into the league at 24 or at 23. And so it's just not the age demographic that European sides look for.
At least for big European sides, right? Like,
right.
He could eventually be a guy that championship sides look at purely due to his age, or, Sweden, some of those smaller leagues, but, Premier League teams, stuff like that. That's a real long shot. Unless for some reason he gets on the World Cup roster, plays every game in the World Cup.
Right. If he goes on,
it's really going to get some attention, but his age really is a hindrance.
If he goes on and has an MVP caliber year, then we're having a whole different conversation.
But I also hope he's never one of those guys that we have to move within the league.
Know what I
mean?
That too.
He would be a very expensive trade, but it would be... He's one of those guys that if he's not going to be on RSL, you want him out of the league so it doesn't break your heart.
Yeah.
No, he's going to be the longtime captain, and he's going to lead RSL to great things.
Emeka and Ellie, the next Kyle Beckerman, too soon? ?
Nope, not too soon. It's happening.
How many red cards does Vera have this year?
Ooh.
3.
Stop, man. Stop taking my answers. Yeah, no, I was thinking 3-4 range.
I was also thinking 3-4 range.
I'm tired of his dang red cards.
Right, but if he gets red
gives me a big headache every time I see, because it's like not even like earned, like, heck yeah, playing for the badge red cards. It's always him just like spitting on someone or kicking someone on the ground and getting in a fight. Like, at least do it for the badge. Like, studs up tackle, 90th minute, last defender, like something like that.
We don't condone violence on the RSL show.
No, but I'm absolutely fine with him taking reds against SKC or Colorado.
Yeah, there you go.
But you got to earn them. None of the spitting one, but yeah.
Not saying we want like to hurt someone. We'd rather like be a well-earned red card rather than
anything but spitting at a player.
Yeah, a petty red card.
Yeah, there you go. Jaron Wardle says, I sometimes enjoy the smell of funky feet.
Oh, Jaron. It doesn't surprise me that he'd say that at all.
Kevin says, what are the chances that we keep Luna for another season? Should I just be getting prepared for him to be sold at any moment? Will you guys be going to the San Jose game? We will not be going to the San Jose game.
Says who?
I mean, I guess Carson might, but I won't be there. Josh probably won't be there.
Yeah, odds of me getting to any real away matches this year are fairly low because I'm going to the Manchester Derby and it's making me broke. So,
as far as your other questions go, Kevin, the chances that we keep Luna for another season, I think, are 50-50, I would say.
I'd say lower than that.
You'd say lower.
We ain't keeping him, bro. I would say buy that jersey now and love it forever.
But yes, you should be getting prepared for him to be sold at any moment, because there is a very big chance there's a big market for him in the summer.
Yeah, I don't think he's leaving this window whatsoever at all. It'll be summertime, so you get to enjoy him for a few months.
There's a lot we could say about good old Diego Luna right now. He could be around for another 2 years. He could be around for another 6 months. It's kind of all depending on what Diego wants and if the team that's coming making a bid for him offers RSL a reasonable price. Because I mean, RSL's in no rush to get rid of him. Diego Luna's focused on RSL right now and blocking out that noise for a move from everyone. So he's still young. People don't realize like what he's only 20, 21.
Yeah, but he's literally right at the edge of prime time to move for a young player for a big club.
Yeah, I really want to see him to get a move, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him here for another year.
I would be absolutely shocked if he's here when the summer transfer window closes.
I feel like my opinion changes like day-to-day basis. It's like, okay, he's gonna be here for another year, and we're like, oh no, he's gone. It just all really depends on what happens.
I think it depends on the season he has too.
Yeah.
Francisco Perry says fry sauce rancid or the 9th and 9th well would have been a better front shirt sponsor.
Valid.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Intermountain Health? Francisco
Nothing,
Perry.
Take care of patients, but fry sauce.
We respect Francesco.
Fry sauce is just everything.
Alex Massimo Sweat says bringing in Pablo's coaching staff for him last season was crazy and unprecedented and not acknowledged enough. But this year they will truly be tested with the turnover. 100%. I think a big reason as to why Real Salt Lake is playing the way that they are playing now is because of that coaching staff.
It's crazy what happens when you give your coach a guy that'll push him, right? You don't fill it up with yes men. You know, you get Pablo to the guys come in that he knows he's comfortable with and he knows will push him. And we talked about it a lot last year, right? It mattered in the substitution patterns. It mattered in the game models. And it was noticeably different. And the record kind of speaks for itself when it comes to that. And I honestly genuinely believe that if Chicho wouldn't have had his stuff going on, that we would have had a real shot at the championship, or at least the Supporter Shield last year. So yeah, that realignment of the coaching staff for Pablo was key and clutch.
We just have such a passionate coaching staff right now. I feel like, you know, I can't remember, was it the Colorado game or it was one of the games, and we had like Mirza running on the field and like squaring up with opposing players. I'm like, that's what's up. That's what I like to see for assistant coaches. Who are just like players. They're just as passionate as the players on the field. They want to win, and they'll die for their players on the field.
I think this staff has surrounded Pablo with the best guys to suit Pablo's style, as well as to suit the players that the development that Real Salt Lake wants to see. It was unprecedented. I don't think we've ever heard or really seen this league kind of get rid of an entire coaching staff and completely bring in a new one while keeping the head coach. But it seems to be a move that has worked really well for Real Salt Lake, and a big reason as to why they broke the points record last season, and a big reason as to why there's still a lot to be excited for this year, even with the young talent. We hope soon. We hope we can get assistant coach Nate Miller on the show to chat with him. That is something that is in the works. We would love to be able to sit down with Nate Miller and get the perspective from the coaching staff and to bring that to you guys hopefully here in the near future. But with that being said, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's show, guys. Anything else you want to add, say, throw out there, put out into the universe before we wrap this one out?
I'm excited to see everyone at American First Field for the first home game. Who are we playing our first home game? Seattle? Or is it Seattle?
Herediano.
Herediano?
That's the first home game.
Man, I'm so excited. So everyone be patient. We're almost there. Super excited for this season. Let's go!
I got nothing. Talk to you guys next week.
Speaking of next week, or speaking of soon, we'll actually dive into this Herediano matchup coming up. The first game Rouse Lake will play officially is their Champions Cup game against Herediano, and we will break down that matchup as well as Champions Cup, as well as San Jose here coming up in the near future, because the season is right around the corner, and we're almost there, guys. Hold on. Preseason is almost over. And with that, we end today's edition of the RSL Show on the KSL Sports Network. Make sure to go follow, make sure to go like, make sure to go subscribe, make sure to go do what you have to do to follow the RSL Show for the best RSL content.